In the lush unfolding of May, when everything in Ashwood Forest bursts green and alive, Zelly and Zorgard set out to lose themselves. And maybe find something, too. They weren't new to the outdoors, but this part of Ashwood, it felt different, less touched. The trees here whispered with more memory, and the trailhead itself felt like a threshold to something older than time. They were hiking to clear their heads. Life had become too scroll and repeat. Zelly brought her camera to capture mushrooms, moss, and quiet things. Zorgard brought survival gear and quiet patience. The sun peeked through pale clouds, dappling the forest floor in shifting lace. For hours, everything felt right, almost enchanted. They followed a bubbling creek and collected stones smooth as glass. They ate lunch beside a soft bend in the river, laughing over an inside joke about time travel and sandwich wrappers. Then they saw the bear. It was across the creek, huge, silent, sniffing the air. Its head turned slowly. Its eyes met theirs. No bluff charge, no drama. Just a moment of recognition. Then it turned and vanished into the green. They didn't speak for a while after that. Still, they carried on. The trail twisted oddly, though. New growth closed in behind them, and none of the blazes on the trees looked familiar. Zelly checked her GPS. Zorgard pulled out a compass, but nothing quite tracked. Around mid-afternoon, they crested a hill and saw it, a clearing, but not a natural one. Logs had been arranged into a half-fallen shelter. Trash was scattered, but not recent. Bits of tarp clung to branches, and in the center sat a cold fire pit ringed with black stones. At first, Zelly thought the bones were animal. Then she picked one up. It was scorched clean. Too long. Too thin. "I don't think we're alone," she whispered. They backed away. The forest was suddenly too silent. As they pressed deeper, hoping to find the original trail again, the light dimmed unnaturally. Trees towered above them like watchers. Zelly stumbled. Zorgard caught her, and behind them came the distant sound of a voice. It wasn't speaking, it was humming. They didn't turn back. Instead, they walked until their legs ached, until the sun nearly disappeared. That night, they built a fire near a rocky bluff, backs to the stone. They didn't talk much, just clung to the warmth. "Maybe it's just hikers who lost their way like us," Zorgard offered. Zelly shook her head slowly. Then why did the shelter feel like a trap? They took turns keeping watch. Around midnight, Zelly swore she saw someone watching, just a silhouette between trees. Gone the second she blinked. When she told Zorgard, he didn't question her. They decided to head west at sunrise, using the sun to orient themselves. The next morning, the forest looked different. Wilted, almost burned in places. They passed a tree with what looked like a handprint carved into the bark. Below it, a bundle of sticks arranged like a person, bound in red string. Later, as they climbed a mossy ridge, Zelly slipped on something wet. It was a soft bundle, a pack covered in mud. They cleaned it off and opened it carefully. Inside were cracked Polaroids, a journal, and waterlogged clothes. The journal was written in smudge pencil. Half the pages were missing. What they could read was unnerving. They offered me food. I said no. That's when things changed. I saw him again last night. Not the one with the teeth, the other one. The one who hums. Fire keeps them away, but not always. The last legible page was torn in half. The remaining word, skin. Zelly closed the book. Zorgard buried it under a pile of stones. They didn't rest again until they found water, clear, cold, flowing fast. The sound was life. Zelly dipped her fingers into it and nearly cried. That night, they made their final camp. Just before dark, they saw the bear again, closer this time. It stood across the stream, sniffed the air, and once more left in silence. But this time, they didn't feel afraid. "We're not what it's watching for," Zorgard said. Around midnight, the humming returned. Soft wrong. Closer, but no one came. The next morning, just past the creek's bend, a bark echoed, sharp and urgent. A search dog, followed by red jackets and human voices. When the rescue crew found them, Zelly and Zorgard looked like they'd crossed a war zone. Dirt covered, eyes sunken, Holding hands like anchors, they were led out in silence. At the ranger's post, no one believed their story. No bear sightings logged. No shelter. No missing hikers matching the journal's description. Nothing but forest and a reputation for disorientation. But in Zelli's bag was one photo from the pack, a blurred Polaroid. It showed a campfire surrounded by shadowy figures and something in the trees, tall and too thin. She never shared it. But sometimes, late at night, she and Beauregard would sit by their own backyard fire, fingers laced, and listen closely. And when the trees rustled just right, they'd tighten their grip, because they knew what waited in Ashwood. And it wasn't finished watching.